is Ryan with 2Minute Tennis. If you have any questions, be sure to throw them in the chat. Let me give you something right away that's going to help you. And this has to do with when you have a higher ball. One of the most common mistakes you will see in rec tennis when a ball is high is the player is jammed. What you have to recognize is that as the contact gets higher and more head level, you have to stand farther away from the ball. Realize your arm is a radius. So as the ball and the contact point is higher, you have to stand farther away from the ball to fit your arm between you and contact. What I typically see is players have a comfortable distance they like at contact on a lower ball. And then whatever, let's just say that's X, right? That's X distance between you and the ball, whatever that is. But that distance stays the same on the high ball for them when it shouldn't. And this is why on low balls, you might feel just fine, but on higher balls, you feel jammed. It's because just like the hands on a clock, as your hand rises, it also gets farther away from you. So as the contact point is higher, you need to stand farther away from the ball to make sure that you're not jammed. So if you find yourself when you get those high weak balls and you're stepping inside the court, you find yourself always getting jammed. It's because you're standing the same distance you typically stand away from the ball when the ball is low, not realizing that you need to stand farther away. Bruh, what's up, bruh? What's up above and beyond? If you have any questions, hey, what's up, Richard? If you have any questions, make sure that you type them in. I'm going to be here for maybe an hour, so I always love it. We always got Richard. We always got the usual suspects here with Richard. I appreciate it. Are you good at tennis, bruh? Are you good at tennis? Yeah, bruh. Yeah, bruh. I'm good at tennis. I love it. Been struggling on my left foot where it should be on the contact point. I feel myself. What stroke? I feel myself. Yeah, you got it above and beyond. I found that my feet are facing the net at the contact point. Men Zero L Pro. Are you talking backhand? You talking about forehand? Are you talking? Are you right-handed? Are you left-handed? Yeah. What are we talking about here? Zero. My left foot where it should be at contact. Are you? I don't know what you're talking about here. Are you right-handed? Are you talking about a forehand? Forehand. Great. Are you right or left-handed? Zero. You got to give me all the info. Is zero right or left-handed? We'll see. Here's why I asked, right? Because it matters, right? It matters what he's talking about. Okay, you're right-handed on a forehand. You're wondering where the left hand or the left foot should be. So it all depends on what height contact you're hitting, right? So let's take this. If you're dealing, let me demonstrate this left-handed so that because right now the camera is reversed, so it makes me look left-handed, even though I'm right-handed. So I'll demonstrate this lefty so it makes sense for you. If you're dealing with a high ball, so if my technique doesn't look good, it's because I'm demonstrating left-handed. When the contact point is high, you're going to be in an open stance. Typically, the higher the contact, the more open the stance should be. And what that means is that your left foot will be on the outside or to the left of your back foot. This makes it much easier to rotate the body. On a low ball, typically you're going to step forward, or especially if the ball's out in front of you and low and you got to go forward to it, you're going to step across with your left foot. So where your left foot should be depends on the height of the contact. Also, if you're running hard to your right, then what you're going to do is use what's called a mogul stance where you hit and then you shift to the side as you hit the ball. So where you place that left foot depends on the situation. You shouldn't be using the same stance every time. Just now, I was watching Wimbledon. I just saw Madison Keys win like a couple seconds ago before I started this live. Right now, it's in the fifth set with Alcaraz and Fognini. Sorry if I'm ruining it for anybody, but I apologize. And they're using constantly. They're using different. Yeah, you got it. Excuse me that I hit all my ground strokes with the same stance. Well, what stance is that, Zero? Is it neutral? Is it closed? Is it open? You don't want to do that. But if you watch these guys, they're hitting different stances all the time. What you'll typically see on the forehand is they're using an open stance on most forehands, because a lot of times the players are late moving laterally and they're dealing with high balls. But when you watch them get a low ball that brings them in front, that's when you'll see them step forward. You're going to use a lot, and even on grass, when they get that low chippy ball, they'll use a lot of close stance even on a forehand. Not like the vast majority of the time. If you just look at Alcaraz hits 500 forehands in a match, it's not like 400 of the 500 are close stance, but there's a large percentage, much more than on clay when the ball's going to bounce very, very high. Hey Ryan, I want to say that I admire your channel. Thank you. I have a question. What do you think about the Roddick forehand? Could be for playing with amateurs. Da, 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 da. Yeah. So here's what you have to be careful of when it comes to like any type of tilt the racket in and free stretch or lag forehand. What I've typically noticed is that when rec players uh, go for a lot of lag, and really try to get this going, that's when their forehand success drops. And it's all about just athleticism and the amount you're able to practice, your ability to time it. We can all hit a forehand that looks like Federer, but does it perform like Federer? Meaning, does it uh, give us the best chance to win? I have analyzed so many rec players. Is what I do for a living now. I taught for 24 years as a coach, and then my online business blew up, and my YouTube channel and everything. So now I just teach fully online. I haven't taught one lesson on court this year, and I teach about 4 people a day, all on video, whether live on Zoom or just analysis, where they send me videos and I send it back to them. And I see so many rec players who are trying to copy the cool looking swings when if they were to just use more of a Delpo turn or even a Holger Rune turn that's more vertical, it's so much easier to just find the contact point and hit with consistency. Everyone's looking for power. Everyone's looking to hit hard and really spin the ball, but really being consistent with that wing is what I would recommend more than anything. Consistent tennis wins, to steal from Tom Avery. So that's what I would that's what I would recommend. I would recommend you not have this type of turn and drop and snap and this type of stuff, but I would have you more go vertical with your racket or place the racket vertically like Delpo. Delpo's up here, Holger's here, but it's so much easier to find the contact point from that place. And even like you look at Alcaraz now, who's playing right now, and you look at and guys, if you could keep me updated on the Alcaraz Fognini match, thank you. The That type of forehand, it's a soft lag. It's not this heavy Jack Sock kind of Kyrgios lag, Federer lag, Nadal, where it's a softer lag. It's kind of halfway between the Federer and Nadal on this side of the spectrum, and then you got the Delpo and the Runa, where the racket's here and the racket just kind of drops behind the hand. You look at Alcaraz and Joker; they have a nice soft lag where the racket doesn't drop way in front of the hand and then have to snap back a ton. That type of forehand typically does not go well for rec players. All right, let's see here. Somebody's asking about the slice. Yeah, they're in the fifth set. Yeah, thank you, Dwayne. All right, let's see here. Are you talking about tips for slice above and beyond? Slice serve, slice forehand, slice backhand? What are you talking about? Uh, you find yourself hitting the ball straight. Do you mean flat with no spin? And what stroke are you talking about? Are you talking about the serve? Guys, try to be as specific as you can be. Hey, Ryan, when I'm hitting my first serve, my ball tends to go in a straight line. Try to be very specific so I don't have if I read your question and then I have more questions, then it kind of kills the my ability to answer, right? Then I got to go to someone else and I want to help you. Um, I find I tend to prematurely drop my tossing arm. Oh, I got you. On the serve, any tip to break this? Yeah, Jeff, absolutely. Super easy. I want you to cross your wrists as you hit the serve. Watch this. Watch how you fix your swing with this tip. When you serve, the goal is to keep the tossing arm up for a long time. And then the time to drop the tossing arm is when you hit the birthday hat. So you keep the tossing arm up until your racket hits the birthday hat from front to back. This move right here, like you're shaving your head, right? Combing your hair back. And then when you hit the birthday hat, then the tossing arm should drop out toward the opponent and then tuck in against the body. So the body rotation stops and your arm accelerates. But a lot of players, they prematurely drop this arm and then you lose your shoulder angle, right? And then it's just not good. So what I want you to do is feel like you're crossing your wrists as you hit the ball. So this is the drill to fix your serve. Toss, keep the tossing arm up so long that you feel like you're drawing an X with your wrists as you hit the ball, and then keep them crossed as you bring them down. So it looks like this. Cross your wrists as you hit the ball. If that's the swing thought you have and that's the feeling that you have, you'll keep your tossing arm up a really long time. That will fix it in one serve. I've been using a Western grip for as long as I can remember. Thoughts on switching to semi as a lefty? I'm still relatively young, but I don't want to deal with any wrist injuries in the future. Jack, phenomenal and good for you looking into the future. The Western grip does not have a long shelf life, especially as you get older. So, what's nice is you're a lefty, and since the camera is switched, thank you for the 1-1 in the fifth set update. Someone just wrote that. They abbreviated the name, so thank you. Um, Yes, I recommend that you change to a semi-Western, but here's the issue where players struggle changing grips. By the way, we've got 18 of you, 16 of you here. Make sure you hit that like button. So thank you so much. Here is why players struggle making a grip change. It's on the forehand. It's because we are used to the direction the palm faces with our previous grip, and then we copy that in the new grip. I'll explain. When you hit a full Western grip at contact, your palm is facing up. So my palm is up when I have the racket at contact. When you hit a semi Western grip, your palm is up at 45 degrees with a semi Western. With an Eastern, your palm is facing forward at contact. The racket looks the same no matter the grip you use. So when you hit an Eastern forehand grip, your racket looks like this at contact. When you hit a semi-Western grip, your racket looks like this at contact. When you hit a full Western grip, your racket looks like this at contact. What changes is where your palm faces: Eastern, semi-Western, full Western. So the issue that players have, whoever asked that question about changing from a Western to a semi-Western, isn't that you can't like hold the grip. It's that when you're going to contact, you're used to your palm and arm being in a certain position, and then your brain tries to find that position again. So let's take in your particular case, going from a full Western to a semi-Western. You are used to your palm facing up at contact. What you have to do is get comfortable having your palm facing forward or more forward. So if you are used to a full Western and you want to change to a semi Western, you have to feel at contact like your palm is facing forward. If not, whoever asked that question, if you hold a semi Western, but then at contact, you have your palm up the way you always do with a full Western, then the racket will be open 45 degrees and the ball is going to go over the fence. This is why players who try to move away from a full Western, it's why their ball always goes over the fence because their brain is swinging and like, hey, let's get the palm up. But the semi-Western grip with the palm up faces the strings up. So if you are currently using a full Western and you want to change to a semi-Western, make sure that you feel like your palm, connect your brain to your palm and feel like your palm is facing more forward as you contact the ball. It'll be so much easier to get the racket vertical and you'll have the consistency that you're looking for and you don't run the risk of hurting your arm. You'll be able to handle low balls with ease, still be able to handle high balls with no trouble. And you won't get so much spin that comes from the Western. You'll be able to dabble both in speed and spin, depth. It's a real kind of like balancing act of grips. It's really, really nice. All right, guys, really quickly here, really quickly. Uh, in the description, and if you tap the screen, you'll see the title of this live stream. and you'll be able to look at the description below. I am running a sale that ends today. So if you would like to support me and you're like, hey, Ryan, I love all the free content that you give, but Ryan, I want you to help me and personally help me and analyze my matches and put me side by side with a serve comparison with the pros and really teach me how to improve. You can save $50 and look in the description right now, you'll see it. You can save $50 if you use coupon code video50 when you order a stroke analysis or a match analysis with me. It's normally $150. I dropped the price by using that coupon code down to 100, but I'm deleting that coupon code tonight at midnight. So that is the last chance. I'm not going to hold another sale until Christmas because things are getting too crazy. But I'll shout you out if you purchase one today during this live stream. I'll gladly shout you out. I'll keep an eye on things and let me know if you do as well. Let me know in front of everyone, and I'll also shout you out. So thank you. If you want to support me and thank me for any video maybe that my channel has helped you to improve your return of serve, your double strategy, your volleys, whatever it is, I would love to be your coach. Click the link in the description right at the top. It says get analyzed by Ryan and use coupon code video50 to save $50. But you got to use that coupon code. Today is June 30th. So in the future, if you're watching this, that coupon code is deleted. You got one last chance. Are there any specific drills to help a 9-year-old boy improve follow through on the kick serve? He tends to stop the racket midway, thinking the follow through must hurt his legs. A simple drill. A follow through might hurt his legs. Oh, you're talking about that he's going to hit the ball. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A simple drill is to have him finish behind his back. Yep. You finish behind your back. I'll demonstrate this lefty so it looks righty. But you toss back here, you brush up the back, and then you finish behind your back like this. So I'll demonstrate it righty, but it's going to look lefty on the video. But it looks like this. You finish behind your back. A simple drill to learn topspin. And by finishing, is an old Dennis Vandermeer drill, by finishing behind your back. And notice I'm kneeling so I don't hit the ceiling. But by kneeling, it also makes it easier for me to make sure I stay sideways. So I'm hitting pure topspin on these serves and I'm finishing behind my back as a way to make sure that I don't swing into the court. A lot of you're missing a lot of spin on your topspin serves because you're swinging forward into the court. We're trying to swing up and across the ball and then finish behind your back. So that's the way you want to finish. An old Dennis Vandermeer drill that will fix the issue and it gives the racket a place to go. If he's afraid that he's going to hit his knees and his legs, he's probably swinging too much into the court. So keep the body sideways, make sure you contact low so that there's still room to go up. That's how you put the topspin on the ball, and then you pronate, and then you put the racket behind your head. Good question. Do you think it's bad sportsmanship to do underhand serves? I can be talked into both answers on this. Do I think it's a little? Do I think it's kind of bush league? Yeah, I think it's kind of bush league. Uh, but I'm not surprised, Mario. I'm not surprised um, with the three love. But I think Alcaraz just was saving himself at the end there. Um, but at the end of the fourth. But would if I were playing someone and they were doing it to me, I would not have an issue with it. You're allowed to. It's in the rules. Um, with the speed of the serves and how far players are standing back, serving underhand is just like it's almost like saying should Alcaraz be able to hit drop shots? Should Alcaraz be able to hit drop shots because he can hit the ball so hard that the opponents are so far back? But actually, that's just strategy. So it's like hitting a drop shot on during a rally. No different. So I'm gonna say, is it bad sportsmanship? No, because it's within the rules, and then we'd have to say you're not allowed to hit drop shots, and everyone applauds when a drop shot is hit. But it makes for tennis that's not fun to watch. I'll say it that way. On my forehand and backhand shots, I find myself hitting the ball straight on just about all my shots. Any recommendation? Yes, there you go. Now you're explaining. Okay, I love it, Bentley or Dwayne. Sorry. All right, let's talk about this. First off, The ball goes where your strings point, not where your racket travels. So Bentley, you're swinging forward and hitting flat into the ball, but your brain is saying, "Oh, the ball's going where I'm swinging." But really, the ball is going where your strings are pointing. Because if you went low to high, the ball would still go forward, but the spin would be created by this. So here is what I want you to do, Dwayne, is, and this drill will fix your issue. I promise you. I want you to hit the south pole of the ball with the top frame of the racket, right? So you can even do a drill like this. Let the ball bounce. You can do this in your kitchen and just bounce the ball, right? You're just doing this, let the ball bounce. And all you're doing is getting used to hitting the south pole of the ball with the top edge. Then get out your ball machine and have the ball coming to you. And instead of trying to hit the strings, I want you to try to hit the south pole of the ball. And here's what will happen. Oh, is that Juliet? Hi, Juliet. When the ball comes in, instead of trying to hit the sweet spot, try to hit the frame. Out of every 5 times you do that, Dwayne, 2 of them you'll swing and miss because it's a narrow little space to try to hit a moving object, right? You'll swing too late, you'll swing too early. The other two, you'll actually hit the frame and the ball will shoot straight up into the air. And if you're lucky, it'll land on your head. But 1 out of 5 times, Dwayne, you will accidentally hit the perfect forehand or backhand because you're going to do this on both. You will spin accidentally right up the back of the ball, all because you were trying to hit the South Pole. So if you're trying to hit topspin and you're trying to hit topspin while hitting the sweet spot, your old swing will override. You have to do something so ridiculous and so extreme and so out of whack that you got to think, all right, I'm going to hit the south pole of the ball. And the way I'm going to do that, or sorry, I'm going to hit topspin. The way I'm going to do that is try to aim for the south pole coming up underneath the ball. And you will accidentally 1 out of 5 times spin like you never have before. And then you start to get the feeling of that. But if you're trying to hit the sweet spot and hit topspin, you'll do the same flat shot you always do. And whether it's a backhand trying to hit the south pole of the ball or a forehand trying to hit the south pole of the ball, that is the way you trick yourself into leading with the edge of the racket going low to high, and then you'll spin the ball perfectly. You'll get the top spin. This is no different than when you try to hit the edge of the racket on a serve to promote leading with the edge. You'll see coaches ask their students to toss the ball and hit the edge of the racket against the ball. What's the difference? Right. And to promote being supinated and then pronating, there's no difference. Tennis is an edge sport. What I mean by that is you want to lead toward the ball with an edge on a serve, on a backhand, right? Slice backhand. One of the edges is leading toward the ball. So that's the way it works. All right, let's see what we got here. I do a pinpoint stance with the gin for my serves, but every time I try to progress using a stable stance to focus on arm movement, the pinpoint transition hinders my progression. I'm not really understanding this. Uh, every time I try to progress using a stable stance to focus on arm movements, the pinpoint transition hinders my progress. Yeah, because you're trying to use the pinpoint. I understand. I would have to see your serve in order to understand what you're actually asking. I don't know why you'd have to use a platform, Jin. I don't know why you'd have to use a platform to work on your arm movements. Um, you can just do the arm movements with the pinpoint stance. Can you explain the role and importance of racket head speed when hitting topspin? Sure, absolutely. Racket speed is simply like currency. It's like money. So your racket speed buys spin and speed, right? And so when you swing a certain speed, you use that racket speed into making the ball travel, but also rotate. And they have this type of relationship, right? So you add more spin, the ball doesn't add more spin, the ball doesn't go as fast. Hit the ball faster, you're not going to be able to spin the ball more, right? So the faster the ball travels, typically the less it'll rotate, and vice versa. So we're generally looking for a lot of racket speed because when you have a lot of racket speed, then even if you dial up the spin, there's still plenty of racket speed to buy a ton of speed, and that's how you get that heavy ball. How do I run to the ball fast enough if my opponent hits the ball super fast? Juliet, it's all about the split step. There is a really high likelihood that even if you are split stepping, and I would say half of junior players do not split step properly, even like the technique. But there's a high likelihood that even if you are split stepping, you're split stepping at the wrong time. I just did, by the way, 2 weeks ago, I just did a live match analysis analyzing the final between Sabalenka and Coco at Roland Garros. This is for my members of my website, 2MinuteTennis.net. And every Wednesday, I do a live class. It's really fun. It's on Zoom, so I can see the people and they're demonstrating at home, and I'm helping them. It's a really fun class. And 2 weeks ago, we did the women's final. Wouldn't you know, Sabalenka was mistiming her split step on the return. We went through it, and I kind of proved it that she was mistiming her split step. So it's very, very simple. You need to make sure that every single time your opponent hits the ball, you hit and you go like this. If right now you're watching Alcaraz and Fognini, if they're still playing, what you'll notice, don't watch Fognini because his footwork's pretty lazy, but watch Alcaraz and how he times the split step so he's in the air when the opponent is contacting the ball. If your feet are on the ground as the opponent makes contact with the ball, you are not going to be fast enough on the court. You need to be in the air as your opponent hits the ball so that you're landing around zero point 0.2 to 0.25 seconds after they hit, which is the processing time of your brain seeing where the ball is going and starting to send signals to the body to start moving. If your feet are touching the court as the opponent makes contact with the ball, return of serve at the net, singles, doubles, I don't care what the situation is. If you're on the ground as your opponent strikes the ball, you will be slow to get to the ball. You'll be slow to change direction. You'll be slow for a first step. And when your opponent hits hard, you're not going to be able to get it. The easiest way to practice this, Juliet, is clear the coffee table, put on Wimbledon right now for the next 2 weeks. And every time the person at the top of the screen hits the ball, jump and try to be in the air as they hit the ball. And if you're in the air as your opponent hits the ball, you don't want to land as they hit. You don't want to take off as they hit. You want to be in the air as they hit. That'll synchronize your feet hitting the ground with when your brain is processing and sending signals to the body. And that's when you're going to have the fastest first step. What's up, 22? What is the proper footwork when handling high, slow ball? I feel after I split, I was waiting for the ball, which caused me losing rhythm and timing. All right, let's talk about this. So you get a high, weak ball, right? The first thing, if it's high and weak and you can easily get to the ball, then prepare the racket early. If it's a weak ball, but it's short and you need to run, then pump your arms. And if you can get there in time, then set the racket and hit. If not, good thing you pumped your arms because then you're going to come in for a little bit of a drop shot. But what a lot of players do is they get these high weak balls. They're like, I got plenty of time. And they run in with the racket in front of them. And then the ball bounces and they still keep the racket in front of them. And then the ball rises around head level. And all of a sudden they get to the ball and they go, whoa, I've got all this swing. And they wasted all that time that they were running up to prepare the racket. In fact, I saw this in the analysis I did for my 2MinuteTennis.net members. I have members all around the world who join me on Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. New York City time, for an hour-ish long class where I analyze pros. I do strategy stuff. I demonstrate tips for your game. It's really interactive. It's fun. It's awesome. And 2 weeks ago, I did a Coco versus Sabalenka final analysis at Roland Garros. And one of the points, Sabalenka tipped the net. And Coco immediately set her racket like this and she moved in this position. No, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't a tipped off the net. It was just a weak ball. That was a different situation. It was just a weak ball. And she set her racket really early and she kind of did like a crab walk getting up to that ball to not commit to like big steps as she got closer to the ball. And by preparing her racket, she's not going to be rushed. So for the player who's asking about, the high weak ball, one thing you got to make sure of is that you're preparing the racket early if you know that you're going to get to that ball early. The second tip that you want to make sure of is as you get closer to the ball, don't run at the ball. You don't run at the ball. You need to be, and thank you, Hess. What's up, Jeff? Congratulations, Jeff, for picking up an analysis. Love it. Guys, Big shout out to Jeff Hess, who just used coupon code video50 in the description to have me analyze his game. So I'm super excited to help him. Jeff, did you pick up a stroke analysis, or do you want me to analyze one of your matches? He's going to book it right now in front of me, and I'll be able to see actually what what we're going to be working on. But here's another mistake that players make. Let's say that picture of Pete Sampras. This is my YouTube play button for 100,000 subscribers. Here is my autographed picture of Pete Sampras, my favorite player of all time. It lets you know my age. I'm 46. So my favorite player is Pete. So my wife got me that autographed picture right there. So when, let's say Pete is going to be my contact, right? That's where the ball is going to be. It's like at head level. Well, I don't want to run at Pete, because if I run at Pete, then I'm jammed trying to hit the ball. So what you have to do is always run to the side of the ball, and quite a significant amount to the side of the ball. You've got to get way over here so that your arm is extended. When the ball is around head level, that's the farthest you're going to stand away from the ball, right? Our arm is a radius, right? So as my hand goes higher, my hand also gets farther away from me. When I do a jumping jack, my hands come together, then my arms go apart, right? Or whether they go up or not. But the idea is as my hand goes up, it gets farther away from me. So players always get way too close and jammed on the high ball. So you got to make sure that you stay far enough away from it that you're not the same distance you normally are when the ball is low. When the ball is down here, everything is fine. But if I raise the contact, now I'm jammed. So as I raise the contact, I've got to stand farther away from the ball. That way, you can accommodate the distance that is needed to fit your arm between you and the ball. And the last thing I'm going to tell you is if you can get there in plenty of time, then you've got to use an open stance or like a semi-open stance. Because when on a high ball, the swing is a bit more merry-go-round than like on a low ball where it's more Ferris wheel. And because it's more merry-go-round, you have to make sure that you can rotate the body. And it's very easy to rotate the body on a semi-open stance. So if Jeff is here, thank you so much. I'm interested to know what you would like me to analyze about your game. In fact, I can look it up. I can look it up right now. Let's see if he scheduled it. Let's see what other questions we have here. Yeah, you got it, Juliet. I'm happy to help. Happy to help. I'm just seeing if Jeff scheduled when I do it. See, when you book an analysis with me, you pick the day and time that I will make it. And let's see, he might not have scheduled it yet. As soon as you schedule it, you're taken automatically to my calendar. Yeah, it looks like he didn't schedule it yet. Thank you so much, Jeff. Super excited. And if you're here, let me know what you're working on. Guys, if you want me to analyze a match, if you have SwingVision, if you don't have SwingVision, use my link. It's in the description. Tap the screen. You'll see the title of this live stream. Tap on that. The description pops up and you can see all my links. But right at the top, it'll tell you the coupon code to use. Right now, sale ends today. Normally, an analysis with me is $150. That's where, let's say, you send me a match you're playing, or you've recently played. It's on SwingVision, or you just uploaded it to YouTube. You send me the link to the match. I sit down and I watch your match and I analyze it from top to bottom. Your shot selection, your court positioning, your sometimes a little technique here and there. But I like to do a full technical analysis if you choose that. But for a match analysis, I work on the 5 phases. See, in singles, there are 5 situations. There are 5 different things that are happening at any given time. You're serving, you're returning, you're rallying, you're going to the net, your opponent is going to the net. So in those 5 situations, you need to know the footwork, the strategy, and the technique to use in all 5 situations. And if you know what they are, then you stop playing tennis like, oh, here comes the ball, I'm going to just hit it. And what you start doing is you start saying, okay, I'm returning serve. What's my footwork? What's my strategy? What's my technique? Oh, I'm in a rally. What's my footwork? What's my technique? What's my strategy? Oh, my opponent's coming to the net. What's my footwork? What's my technique? What's my strategy? If you know what to do in every single situation, then instead of just thinking, oh, here comes the ball, I'm going to try to send it back over the net, you think of the situation and say, oh, these are the things I need to do now because I'm going to the net. So this is what I need to accomplish. It makes playing so simple. If you play doubles, you need to know the top 10 double strategies and how to apply them. And once you understand like court positioning, shot selection, where to look, where to move, where to go when a lob occurs, most players do not know where to go when it comes to a lob. All right, August 4th. He just scheduled it on August 4th. Let's see here. I knew that was going to happen. That's why I kept it open here. Let's see. Let's see. Boom, there it is on my schedule. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Jeff. He just scooped himself up a serve analysis. So, yeah, racket drop, and use all these things. Yeah, I cannot wait. Okay, so here's what I'm going to be doing for Jeff. He's going to send me videos of his serve from the back view and the side view. I'm going to take those videos, I'm going to edit them together, and I'm going to put them side by side with Kyrgios, Federer, Nadal, maybe Sakari, Taylor Fritz. I'm going to JJ Wolf. I'm going to put them side by side with the pros, and I'm going to show him what he's doing correctly, and then I'm going to show him a list of his what's called areas for improvement right on the screen, right? It says white blank screen with red lettering. And it's going to say Jeff's areas for improvement. And it's going to be a list of 4 or 5 or 6 things that we're going to go over in that video. Then I go, okay, here's the first thing. Let's check out your beginning, right? Look at the beginning of your serve and your grip or your feet issues or your toss issues. Then we get into the heat of the meat of the swing. Again, putting them side by side with different pros. I film in order to do a serve analysis. I film about 20 to 25 videos that I then edit all together into a 30 to 50-minute lesson that I then send back to you. It's awesome. At the end, I then show your serve solutions, and it's a list of all the drills and the things I want you to do. It is the most spectacular tennis lesson you will ever take, guaranteed. I don't care what on-court tennis lesson you've ever taken in your life. This will be the most spectacular lesson Jeff ever takes. And this is why I do like 4 to 5 a day of these analysis lessons. I've already done 2 this morning, and I went live here now, and I'm going to do 2 later on today. So thank you, Jeff. I'm super excited. All right, let's see what we got here. Do my swings negate the incoming ball spin? If I return a heavy topspin ball, do I have to retaliate with even stronger topspin, or does my ball only get the spin I generate? Yeah, so once the ball bounces, the spin is gone. So yeah, the ball only reacts differently against the racket if you're hitting a ball out of the air. So if your opponent has heavy topspin and you hit the ball out of the air, then it's going to react and the ball's actually going to go up slightly off the racket. If the ball's got heavy backspin and you hit it in the air, then the ball actually wants to go down off the racket. But once the ball hits the ground, all the spin is negated. In fact, the ground puts more spin on the ball than any person can. How about that? I bet you didn't know that. Edward, I saw you grabbed another analysis last night too. The analysis helped my consistency on the forehand. Thank you so much, Edward. Yeah, I woke up and I saw that you grabbed another one using the coupon code video 50. It's still running if you want to grab another one. I have a difficult time doing ground strokes on balls. You can use the coupon code as many times as you want. Until tonight. I have a difficult time doing a ground stroke on balls that are on the rise or just bounced. How can I improve hitting balls on the rise? Phenomenal question. And you're the best YouTube tennis teacher by far. Thank you. I don't know about that, but I could definitely help you. I appreciate the support, but I can definitely help you take the ball on the rise. So here is how you take the ball on the rise. Jin, thank you so much. The way you hit a ball on the rise, by the way, if you want SwingVision, this is the stick that you get. The swing. See, this is backward. The swing stick. This is the most incredible fence holder you will ever experience. It's normally $100, but it comes free when you use my SwingVision link in the description. It's awesome. All right, here's how you take a ball on the rise. The key to taking the ball on the rise is, and this is what we mean by on the rise, it's right after the ball bounces, you hit it. The way you do this is to match the drop of the racket with the drop of the ball. So a lot of times players cannot hit on the rise because they wait for the ball to bounce, then they swing, and it's too late. The ball bounces, they swing, and there's no ball. You have to match the height of the racket and the height of the ball so that right after contact with the ground, you're hitting it. Watch how I'm going to drop my racket with the ball. my racket goes down with the ball, and then I can hit the ball on the rise. Watch. So you can even do this drill. Toss the ball up, and then as the ball gets to here, your racket starts going down, and then right after the bounce, you hit it. Watch. Sorry, I keep hitting the ground. That's how you take a ball on the rise. You drop the racket with the ball. So the ball's coming in, the ball's going to be deep, right? Oh, here we go. The ball's going to be deep. You turn high the way you always do, and then when the ball gets to about the height of your racket, they go down together, and that's when you take the ball on the rise. Typically, players wait too long, and that's why the ball bounces. Oh, I'm sorry, that's why the ball bounces up too high, and they can't take it on the rise. For shorter people, would you still recommend tossing the ball low? Because I thought you need to toss a bit higher and jump higher to compensate for height. Kevin, no, no, no. When I tell people, and I hope you're still here, five love. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Um, when you, I'm only 5'9", right? So when I say toss lower, I don't mean to hit with a bent arm. Whether your toss is low or your toss is high, the contact point is the same height. Right? If you toss the way you always toss, right? You're going to hit with full extension. If you see a plane going by and you toss it up to the plane, 30,000 feet in the air, you still have to let the ball drop and you're going to still hit the ball at full extension. There's no difference in the contact height when it comes to toss height. Now, if you're tossing the ball only as high as your eyebrows, well, then of course you're going to hit with a bent arm. But there is zero difference in the contact height of a low toss and a high toss. Low is relative. It's relative to a higher toss. It doesn't mean it's low to you. It just means it's lower than Sabalenka, right? So there's zero difference. So if you're tossing so low that your arm is bent, well, then that's at contact. But you don't reach higher on a higher toss. Unless you're shorter, but you can dunk a basketball. If you can dunk a basketball on a regulation 10-foot rim, then maybe you can jump higher than the average person. But most people can't who are on the shorter side, Spud Webb. But the goal is we're going to contact at the same height, no matter the height of our toss. The reason the lower toss is what I recommend is because it gives you less time. And if you have less time to get to work, what do you need to drive? Faster. If you have less time to get to the dentist, what do you got to do? Come on, get out of the, let's go, get in the car. We got to go. Right? Speed is nothing but distance over time. So if you want to increase the speed of your serve, give yourself less time to go that distance and you'll be forced to swing faster. So do not think that higher tosses give you higher contact points because in most situations they do not. Really quick, if you are loving this live stream and you want to improve your tennis game, then it's for the next 12 hours, actually less than 11. Only 11 hours left to use the coupon code that is in the description right now. Somebody just picked up an analysis. The coupon code video50, when you click the line, the first link that you see in the description, if you don't know how to get to the description, if you're watching on your phone or tablet, tap the screen and up pops the title of this live stream. Click on that and the description pops up and you will see get analyzed by Ryan and it says use coupon code video50 to save $50. I will do a full match analysis on you, teaching you doubles, singles. I'll teach you why you're losing, court positioning, shot selection, your strategies, your tactics, your footwork, the process you're using to return serve and why you're struggling to return serve, why you're always getting passed when you go to the net, why you're struggling in doubles when a lob occurs and you feel like anytime there's a lob that goes up in the air, you're always losing the point. Or if you want me to do a full stroke analysis on you, if you want me to put you side by side with the pros on your serve or your backhand, forehand, net game, you can also do that it's called a video analysis lesson. You simply send me videos of your game, I analyze it, and I send you back really a 30, depends on the stroke, but like a 25 to 30 minute, all the way up to a 50-minute lesson. It'll be the most amazing lesson, I promise you, that you'll ever take. You'll learn the most compared to any lesson you'll ever take. You'll improve the most compared to any lesson you ever take. And for only about 11 hours now, you can use coupon code video50 to drop the price from 150 down to 100. All right, let's see what we got here. Click the link in the description. I see. Thanks for the clarification. I always thought you need to work on the jump when you're short to compensate and get the higher contact point. Now I get it. Yeah, you should. You should jump to get to your highest reach. You always should. But a low toss and a high toss does not hinder, or sorry, a low toss does not hinder your ability to reach up as high as you can. What it does is it gives you less time to do that so that you're forced to go faster and then the ball goes faster, or you can curve the ball more. A lot of players have slow serves because they have high tosses. You ever heard, if you toss higher, you'll have more time? You'll have more time to do what? You won't have more time to hit the ball because you'll have less time to hit the ball because the ball will accelerate faster through the window of opportunity and you have less time to hit the sweet spot. You look at Pericard, you look at Kyrgios, they have low tosses, which means they've got to swing really fast. Now they still hit the ball at full extension, jumping in the air. Low is relative, right? So relative compared to the high toss, but they have very little time to swing. Specifically, if you look at Giovanni Pericard, his toss timing is 0.66 seconds. If you don't know what a toss timing is, it's when the ball is at your forehead. You put a timer on the screen, and with my apps, this is what I do as part of your analysis. I check to see that your toss is too high or too low. I put the ball at head level or forehead level, and I run the timer until contact. And that's how you get somebody's toss timing. The toss timing should be somewhere between zero point 0.6 and 0.9 seconds. So Pericard is at 0.66. That's low on that scale, which is great because it forces him to swing really fast. And what is he known for? A really fast serve. Now, can you toss high and swing really fast? Well, yes, but that requires a pause. Like Sabalenka, you watch and she does all this, like she lifts her arm up and then she has to drop the elbow and then she turns and she pauses and then she goes. There are a lot of calculations that have to be made that in her career have hurt her. Now she's sorted out some of those complications, but you got to be a world-class player to first go through an entire season with more than 400 double faults, the most ever in a season that she had like in 2001 or something. And then she has to figure out what the problem is, right? With all these amazing coaches, supposedly, right? Who she's working with. But the idea is really simple. If we're trying to have all those calculations as accountants, as lawyers, as doctors, as school teachers, right? We're just regular people trying to play tennis, right? I'm sure there are no pro tennis players who make a full living off of their tennis winnings who are watching this live stream. So you're better off tossing a little bit lower to force yourself to swing really fast, but still high enough that you can hit at full extension. For context here, Sabalenka's toss timing is 1.33 seconds. The ball is in the air for her twice as long as Pericard. Crazy, huh? Crazy, crazy, crazy. Ryan, hey, what's up, Edson? I often see players defending while running with their back to the court, using the racket in a reversed grip to get more reach. But no one seems to teach this technique. Could you give a tip? I have no idea what you're talking about. I often see players defending while running with their back to the court, using the racket in a reversed grip to get more reach. Are you talking about a squash shot, Edson? Are you talking about like like are you talking about this? Are you talking about this? What do you mean by okay, here's the baseline. And do you mean this? They're back and they're kind of hitting on the outside of the ball, if you will, with side spin? Is that what you mean? Hmm. It has got to be that. Yeah, I have no idea what he's asking. I don't know the situation. When he said reverse grip, I to get more reach, I have no idea what he's talking about. I don't know what a reverse grip is. Yeah, I saw that, Mario. Yep. I mean, a lot of times when pros, when he's down 5-2, he's not trying to come back in the fourth. So he's, a lot of times they just give it whatever they need. Oh, Edson, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, it's just a continental grip. They're just hitting a slice. So if I'm hitting the ball this way, so think about the serve, right? And you're hitting side spin. Well, if you're hitting a side spin serve up here, spinning the ball, when the ball is down here, it's going to be backspin. So if the ball comes to me and they go like this, they'll hit on the outside of the ball, or the feeling is they hit on the outside of the ball. When the ball comes back to them this way, they'll hit like this. The goal is keep your hand below the ball and feel like you're hitting on the outside of the ball as you hit. Yeah, the squash shot. I just did a members class, um, maybe for my website, 2MinuteTennis.net. I just did a members class. If you're interested in membership, just send me an email, ryan@2MinuteTennis.net. Or you can just go to my website and you can check it out. I do a live Zoom class every Wednesday for members. And one of the classes was like 8 times to hit slice. I forget, it was like 2 months ago. I forget what it was. But I actually used Federer as the example of the squash shot. Love your technical advice. Thank you. Yeah, the back to the net. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you're my opponent and it's like this, yeah. So you're my opponent. You're not going to hit like this, because if you hit like this, the shoulder is farther away from the ball. So you have to do this so that you can get over to the ball. Yeah. So you're my opponent and you go like this. Serve grip. Feel like you're hitting on the outside of the ball to swing the ball back in. Squash shot. Like the sport squash, they hit that shot a lot. Let's see. How do you pronate correctly on the tennis serve after the contact? When I try to do it without forcing my arm to pronate, I don't fully pronate and I don't follow through. Hard fries. Well, we don't want hard fries. I don't like mushy fries, but we don't want hard fries. Um, yeah, so the way to get that is to bend your elbow so that your elbow points up when you're done. So the way you pronate on a serve, and it's this idea. It's you go up toward the ball with the edge, and then you turn this back edge toward the ball, and then that keeps going as you serve. So it looks like this. It's that move. And that's how you get that snap at the top of the serve, right? What ends up happening though is players are unsure, first off, when to do this. So let's do a little lesson here that you didn't even ask for, but I'm going to give you. So here my strings are facing off to the side. So let's call that 0 degrees. Here my strings are facing to the opposite side. That's 180. So here's 0, here's 90, here's 180, right? As I hit the ball, I'm making that move. Now, first off, how much of the 180 should happen? In fact, I'll pose this question. I want you to type the answer quickly in the chat because I don't want to take too long on this. But the question I'm asking is, if this is 0, if this is 90, and this is 180, what angle, or I should say it this way, how many degrees have occurred at contact on a slice serve? So you're hitting a slice serve. Let's take slice. That means if you hit with the frame of the racket, 0 degrees would have gone by, right? If you hit squarely into the ball, 90 degrees have transpired by the time you contact it. If you rotate fully and hit the frame, 180 degrees of rotation has occurred prior to contact. How many degrees of rotation has occurred when you contact the ball on a slice serve? So Rocky, the Rocket, says 120. So how many degrees has occurred by the time you contact the ball? I'm going to let this simmer for another 10 seconds. I don't want to take. I appreciate you answering, Rocky. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You know what I'll do during? I'll juggle. I'll juggle while you guys, I'll wait another 10 seconds. I hope I don't hit the ceiling here. Let me just flip the racket to kind of feel the weight. Yes, pretty good. See if I can do this. 3, 2, 1. All right. I'm just waiting for any of you walking in. I have not been doing this for the last 10 minutes or like half an hour, I promised. All right. So there you go. Nice little trick that I can do. I learned to do that when I was in fifth grade. All right, let's see here. 70 to 110. We got hard fries with 45, sweets and dandy. We got RN. All right, I'll guess 80. All right, nice juggling. Thanks. All right. So the answer is between 70 and 80. So Richard, you win. But I'm going to say 70 because that kind of promotes what I'm trying to teach here. The number has to be less than 90. So whatever you guessed, if you guessed less than 90 degrees, 89 or less, then you're right. Here's where players get really confused on the slice serve. They get confused because they think, well, you can't hit pronation on a slice serve because you'll hit the other side of the ball. That's if you hit 120 degrees, as Rocky said, right? It was a good guess, but the problem is if I'm at 0 and then I get to 90, which 0 is that way, 90 is straight that way, and 180 is that way, I have to cut the ball, then have the turn occur, or have some of the pronation happen prior, but most of the pronation happens after. Most of that 180 is after you contact the ball. So if you're struggling to pronate, let's first understand when to, and then we'll understand how to. What we have to think is cut the ball, then turn. Cut the ball, then turn. So if you have a TopspinPro, best tennis players finally. Thank you, Mikey. I appreciate it. If you have a TopspinPro, take the arm off. And just like a Harlem Globetrotter spinning a basketball on the finger, just choke up on your racket and spin the ball. And then spin it and then turn. Spin, then turn. That will be the swing thought that you have to do it correctly on the court. Now, players ask, what is the point of pronating if it happens after contact? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying think that you are spinning it and then pronating fully after. But that's not actually what will happen. What will actually happen is what Richard said 70 degrees, 80 degrees. That's how much rotation will happen. You're going to, when you hit a slice, be turning the racket in one continuous motion. You're just going to hit the ball when the racket is rotated about 70 degrees, and then the racket continues pronating. It is one continuous move. Pronation is the rotation of this. It is the rotation of the forearm bones, this movement. And yes, there is wrist extension to then wrist flexion. There is this link, but you have to add this rotation in order to get, like if you look at I'm 46. So when I went to the doctors in the 80s, they would put a mercury thermometer under my tongue and the nurse would go like this. Like if I went into the doctor's office and the nurse was snapping the mercury thermometer like this, we would have gotten the heck out of there. Like, what is this? Like some underground clinic? Like, what's going on here? No, the mercury thermometer is snapped like this. If you hurt your hand, you go, ow. You don't go, ow. I mean, that'll give you more pain. You do this. See, my wrist is curled over the whole time. I'm making this move. So this move is how you hit a serve. It's how you throw a football, right? Speaking of football, go Eagles. So the goal here is you've got to learn to cut the ball, then feel like you're turning the racket, and then you'll pronate at the right time. All right. Now let's talk about if you're struggling to get the rotation to occur after contact. So I've got my buddy here, right? Pete Sampras. Here, I'll show you a picture. I'll bring it. There's Pete. Right? There's my Pete. There's my play button. So when you are serving, you got to follow through like Pete. So Pete is known for bending the elbow. So it's called the Sampras elbow. After you serve, bend your elbow, but have the feeling that your elbow is pointing up, right? So it's this move. And so when you serve and you point your elbow up, it basically forces the pronation to occur. I've had to do that more and more as I got older because I found it very hard. Like I'm not very flexible anymore. And so it's kind of hard to like make that turn and that like internal rotation here. So it's a little tough to do that for me. So what I started to do was just bend the elbow. And I found that I got a lot more like speed and pronation without really trying to rotate. It just kind of happened naturally. So feel like you are putting and then turning. But if you're struggling to really turn fully and get 180 degrees of rotation, then after you serve, bend your elbow during your follow through. But and you look at Nadal, JJ Wolf, Ben Shelton. Look at Shelton serve in slow motion after contact. He looks like this. And while he's continuing to follow through, like Shelton goes from bent to straight to bent. And that's how you get that snap. It's like the snap at the end of the whip, right? To really hit the ball. That was fun to answer. That was fun to answer. Good question. How much angle on a flat serve? Yeah, so it's not 90 because that would be if when you hit the ball has no spin. Flat serves are not flat. Yeah, you got it, hard fries. Would you like hard fries with that? So if you hit and you rotate 90, well then the ball's going to have no spin. Flat serves are not flat. Flat serves have a lot of spin, just not enough spin to really make the ball curve, but they have spin. So a lot of you are hitting flat serves trying to hit the ball with no spin, and that's why your percentages drop. Just add a bit of spin, and you'll recognize that you can hit the ball um, still fast, but the ball has enough curve and bend and a bit of spin, like to keep the ball in. Spin is the way we control a tennis ball, but it's also the way you control a soccer ball, right? So they'll pick it and they'll put spin on it, and you get this Magnus effect, and the ball curves. Whether it's billiards and you put English on the cue ball and you can control the ball, bowling and they can spin the ball out toward the gutter and then it comes right back into the pocket. Spin is the way you control the ball. A baseball, a football, you control the ball with spin. And so a flat serve, think like 85 degrees. It's not 90. You don't want, because you don't want to be swinging directly towards your target. Think like 85 degrees has occurred. That's why on slice you want to think of like 70 degrees. So you're pretty much still leading with the edge, very much so leading with the lead edge. But the back edge is starting to catch up by the time you contact. But it's not like 120 like somebody had guessed. That if you hit 120, you're hitting a pancake serve and the ball's going to curve the wrong direction, if you will. Any drills for not having a death grip on the racket, which is causing tennis elbow? Um, yeah, so the fingers that squeeze the tightest are the pinky and ring, right? So if you shake someone's hand really hard, did you know that the pinky and ring finger are doing the squeezing, not your index finger, right? The index finger squeezes, but really it's the pinky and ring that are really opposing the thumb, and they're the ones really gripping hard. So what you might want to do is just hit some balls and just feel like your pinky and ring are just slightly off the handle. One of the drills that you can do for a serve is it's called the three finger drill, where there's like space here, right? It's not like you're grabbing on, you're just holding on thumb on the very top, index and middle finger at the very bottom, which would be a wrong grip, like on a serve. But you just serve. Let me use my little racket here. You just serve, and by holding on with just the fingertips, you learn to serve really loosely. I will say don't serve fast because the ball will fly out, or the racket will fly out of your hand. Another drill you can practice is to take the racket back and then just let go of the racket and then grab on again. So it looks like this. And just feel what it's like to let go and just let gravity drop the racket. And it's just giving you ways to be loose, but really pay attention to the ring and pinky. Those are the ones that squeeze the tightest. So just be loose with those and your grip will be loose. This is why I love going live. You get real questions. Yeah, you got it. You get real questions here. It's normal to change a little bit the grip for serving tea. Is it normal? Yes, a lot of stuff is normal. Should you do it? No. Nope. Don't change your grip. Somebody who's really paying attention, like I would see it and I would see your grip change. This is what I do for a living, so I would see the grip. How can I implement racket lag into the forehand? What I would say is, and I talked about this at the beginning of this live stream, don't think that the more racket lag you get, the better. So what I would say is this: if you're going to do racket lag, um, when the racket falls, don't have it fall next to your hand. So let's say I'm hitting this way. If the racket falls next to your hand, there's going to be a ton of racket lag, and I just don't see rec players hitting well with that type of forehand. So when the racket falls, have it fall not behind your hand like Del Potro, pointing to the back fence, but not along, like here's the baseline, not along the baseline either. Have it be more like Djokovic and Alcaraz, where it's more like a 45-degree angle, and then there's less lag. There's still more lag than what kind of that WTA swing is, but I would not try to think the more lag the better. What you might think of doing is setting up a camera that is 45 degrees angled, viewing you from the side back angle. And when your racket drops, see if the tip of the racket is pointing at the camera, right? Like right now, you're right along with me, or like to the side of me as I'm playing this way. So I don't want you to do this. I don't want the tip of the racket right now is pointing at you. That's a ton of lag that is required in order to hit, and it looks cool, but it doesn't work. Like it just, I rarely see rec players actually get better by adding lag in that scenario. You're better off having the type of forehand where the racket's like this. You can see it's at an angle. Point like the tip of my racket right now is pointing at the server's partner here on the strategy board. I'll kind of show. I don't think you can see this. It's kind of like here, like it's pointing that angle. It's not pointing at the wall, which is right under this basement window right there. That's not where I want you to drop, but I don't want you to do here. I want you to have here at an angle. When you do that, then there's less lag. So you still get some lag, but it's not a crazy amount. It's like syrup. You don't want to put a whole bottle of syrup on your waffles, right? You don't want no syrup, but you don't want the whole vat of syrup. Like you got to have the right amount. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Do you offer mental coaching as well as technical coaching specifically for younger players? The pressure of winning really messes with these players. Um, I would. That would be something that I would talk to them in a live Zoom lesson. So I have two types of lessons I give. I would want to do this live on Zoom though. And I give two types of lessons, and really half of my lessons are live on Zoom. The other half are just an analysis asynchronously. But the other half of my lessons are people meet with me live on Zoom. They already sent me the videos, and I do the analysis live in front of them. I share my screen, I'm telestrating, I'm putting you side by side with the pros. It's more interactive. So for something like that, absolutely, I would use coupon code video50. And one thing that can help with juniors, and I want to know more about this junior you're talking about, if it's your child or if it's a nephew, niece, if it's your student. A lot of times kids, they don't understand the math of tennis. They don't understand this, the roller coaster of it. If you ask most kids, hey, you win the match 6-2, 6-2, what percentage of the points did you win? Let's say you played 100 points. How many points did you win if you win the match 6-2, 6-2? They'll say things like 85 or 90%. Like they don't understand that tennis is a 55 to 45 game. And when you dominate a match, you really only win 55% of the points. Go in the Wimbledon app right now and look at the matches. Look at the points, total points won. And you'll find a match that's kind of lopsided, and then look at the percentage of points won. If there's a match that's 3-1, on the guy's side, 3-1, you'll be shocked that maybe the winning player only won 53% of the points. But you ask that to a child, and you'll say, "Hey, um, you're, you win a match, whatever, yeah, like 6-2, 6-3. What percentage did you win?" And they say literally 75, 80, 85%. So when they're playing, they have in their mind that they're supposed to win that number of points. And they can keep track. They're like, I'm not winning 80% of the points. It's a coin flip right now. I'm losing half the points. But they don't understand that that's actually how you win. You win by small margins. If I choose the match analysis, will I also get some tips for my technique, backhand serves? Yeah, you would just put it in the when you get a match analysis, you can send that to me, right? You would book the lesson. I would do it before the end of today so you can save the $50. It's in the description right now. Use coupon code video50. I'm not lying when I say I'm deleting the coupon. So you won't be able to use it in 12 hours. So when you do that, you would book the lesson, or you would grab the lesson on my website. You'll automatically be redirected to my calendar, and that's when you pick the date that I'm going to make it. It's just like a doctor's office, right? You got to call them up and say, I'd like an appointment. And they'll say, oh, that's going to be on July 14th. And you're like, okay, great. I'll be there at 2. That's the way I do my analysis lessons. I have a lot of people who contact me for lessons. So if I wasn't organized, people would be like, hey, where's my serve analysis? I'm like, oh, I totally lost it. And I'm looking through my calendar. I'm like, oh, this way it's all automated on the website. I wake up in the morning. I know who my lessons are that day and who I'm analyzing. They send me the videos. I'm all good. So I would write in your, it's called Calendly, when you book the match analysis with me and you send me the match that you want me to help you to understand your core positioning, shot selection. If you're struggling to beat someone, I'll teach you how to beat them. But just in the note that you write about what you want me to help you with, just say, hey, give me a few backhand and serve tips, and I'll make sure I add that into your match analysis. It won't be a full backhand analysis. It'll be a couple tips that are really going to help you. But the full like serve analysis is like 45 minutes long, where I teach you soup to nuts everything that you got to work on and improve. It's I'm really proud of that product, that type of lesson that I give. So sorry for being late. You got it. Paging Dr. Ryan. That's right. My wife's a doctor. That's really funny. Um, let's keep going here. I've achieved a reliable forehand lag after practicing the inside out swing. Smart. That's the way you'd want to do it. Learn to relax the joker center like take back. Easier said than done, but finally got it. Now backhand to go. Good, Kevin. Good job. I recognize that name. Sir, love your lessons. How to hit like 130 kilometer serve like Ben Shelton. Well, his serve is not 130 kilometers. I'll tell you that. It's a lot faster than that. His serve is in the 200 kilometers. Look, if I could do it, I would do it. What he does is no secret. It is literally, can you make your arm and your legs explode and travel as fast as he can? That's it. There are a lot of players a lot of runners who know how Usain Bolt runs. They just can't run as fast as he did. That's the way it works. How to hit a forehand like Joao Fonseca? Go to 2 Minute Tennis on YouTube and type in 2 minute. I'm sorry. Go to YouTube and type in the search bar 2 Minute Tennis and then Joao Fonseca forehand, and you'll see a video I made on his forehand a couple months ago. So one thing that you'll see here, and I'll teach you right now. One thing that Fonseca does, that Federer did too, and Rublev does it, is what you're looking to do is not continue rotating, but rather you want to rotate, stop, and let the arm accelerate. Rotate, stop, and let the arm go. When you stop the body, the energy's got to go somewhere, and that's the kinetic chain. And you stop a link, and the arm goes. So a lot of you are trying to swing fast, and you're just rotating as you hit. But when you watch Rublev, he's like, and he stops, right? Blah, right? Blah, and he does this, and he stops, and the arm goes. So you don't want to be uncoiling the entire time you hit. You want to uncoil to contact, and when you stop, the energy's got to go somewhere, and it goes into the arm. So it's that. Watch my body rotate, and then it stopped. I rotate, stop, and then the arm goes. It's the same thing on the serve. When you hit a serve, you don't want to continue rotating. You want to coil, uncoil, stop the uncoil, and then the arm accelerates. So you don't want to continue rotating. You want to stop, right? That's the goal. The goal is to stop. Stop, drop, and roll. Hey, we got another person. I'm not sure if I know how to pronounce the first name. Last name is Song. Um, Tiani. I'm not sure if I'm sure I really did not do a good job with that. That was a minute ago. Tiani just grabbed an analysis. So thank you so much. Click the link in the description. Make sure you use coupon code video50. Normally my analysis lessons are 150, but it takes off $50. But the coupon code ends tonight. So if you're watching this on a live stream, it was you, 22. Yes, awesome. Yes, spot on, Ryan. Roger said he won approximately 55% of points he played in his entire career when speaking to the college graduates. I saw that as well. It's good enough for the champ. That's right. Coincidentally, that's what I'm working on, stopping the rotation with my non-hitting arm. I used to over-rotate a lot. Yep, you're 100% right. Yeah, when you realize something, you only have so much energy. So if all of your arms and legs, thank you so much. The payment just went through. Thank you so much, 22. My Stripe credit card processing just showed me that it just, the $100 went through. So thank you so much. Um, the your arms and legs and your wrist and your head and everything, there's only so much energy, right? So if you've got some energy being used here and some energy being using by the legs and your body is rotating, the racket is like, hey guys, why are you using all of this energy when you should focus it on me? So when your body rotates and then stops, guess what happens? It goes to the arm, and that's when you accelerate. It's like a whip. I wish I had you know what? I'm gonna use my computer charger. So I got my MacBook computer charger here. I'll take the cube off. So if I have my computer charger and I just take it and I just go like this, right? Let's imagine it's a whip, like, right? I've got a whip and I'm just going like this. If I just spin faster and faster and faster, is the whip ever going to snap? No. A whip snaps when you move the handle and then pull back, right? You stop the handle. The energy has to go somewhere, and it goes to the end of the whip. It starts multiplying, and then the tip of the whip, the tip of the bullwhip will cross the sound barrier. It cracks the speed of sound or crosses the speed of sound, and that's that crack you hear in the air. It's not hitting anything, it's snapping against the air, going faster than the speed of sound, and you hear the sonic boom. That's basically what is happening when you're hitting a forehand and trying to stop the body. And this is what Fonseca, somebody asked about this, and this is in my YouTube video that I made a couple months ago. Rublev and Federer does this. What they do is they rotate, then they stop, then the energy's got to go somewhere and it goes into the arm. You do the same thing on the serve. You stop, and when you stop the body's rotation, the arm accelerates. If your body is rotating, it's taking away from the speed you can have from your arm. No different than rotating with a whip. It'll never snap, no matter how fast you swing. Am I good at table tennis? Nah, not really. No. I was never a pro tennis player. I was never like really good at tennis. I'm a benchmark 5.0, but I haven't played tennis. I mean, I haven't played a match in probably 6 or 7 years. I think so. But I mean, I was pretty good. Like whatever a 5.0 is that like in the world of tennis? I'm a lot closer to a beginner than I am Novak Djokovic. For both the one-handed and guys, we're going to be on here for maybe about another 20 minutes. Um, Make sure you, by the way, make sure you grab the link or at least you click on it so you have it. Um, because this is, if you're not planning on doing anything, this is your last chance to use that coupon code video 50 in the description to get $50 off an analysis. For both the one-handed and two-handed backhands, should you actively flick your wrist? No. To get the racket face in the drop position? No, 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 no. No. So let's talk about the backhand. The reason this occurs on the two-hander, especially, let's talk about this, is because of body rotation. So remember, we coil and then we uncoil. So when you hit a two-handed backhand, I made a great video on this with Djokovic. I made a great video of this with FAA. As the racket's dropping, about halfway down, your body should rotate. Well, our racket weighs something. So as the racket is going down and you rotate the body, the racket, body motion tends to stay in motion. So as the racket's going down, it wants to keep going down. So as your body rotates, the wrist curls. So if you struggle with the wrist curl, this move right here, if you're struggling with that wrist curl that you see with Djokovic, it's not because they're just dropping the wrist. Now, that might be something that you think of, or I'm sure I've told students, hey, think as the racket goes down that you have a slight bit of curl in the wrist. But that's just a swing thought. When we're talking reality, what actually happens is as the racket goes down and basically halfway down, the body starts turning. And when the body starts turning, that's what curls the wrist. And that's what allows you to close the racket face so then you can spin up the back of the ball. Most rec players on their two-handed backhand, they drop the racket all the way down and their body has not rotated yet, which is why they have no wrist curl and then they hit too flat. So as you got a coil, But then as the racket is halfway down, you have to begin turning the hips, but you can't go forward with the racket. You got to be loose enough that as the racket drops, the racket continues to drop. And you can see that separation. My racket's still going down and the wrist curls. That's why when you look at Djokovic, this wrist is curled and then they go up and hit. So I hope that explains. You don't want to actively do that as much as you want to rotate the hips as the racket's going down. How do you hit a spin serve? I'll tell you how you don't hit a spin serve. You don't hit a spin serve by curling around the ball. You hit a spin serve by not swinging towards your target with a continental grip. So a continental grip is very simple. You want to open up the racket face 45 degrees and then grab on with your hands straight up and down like a karate chop. And when you do that, you have a continental grip. For you righties, it looks like this. And then the goal is you don't swing towards your target. So let's take right here. So I was going to say the play button, but right here, let's say this is my target. The reason players struggle to hit spin serves is because they're used to swinging toward the target with a forehand grip. So then they're wondering, wait, how do I hit a slice serve? And then they say, oh, use a continental. And they're like, yeah, but when I use a continental, the ball goes over to the left. When what you need to do is stop swinging towards your target. If you're struggling with a spin serve, also known as a slice serve, then you need to aim, if you're right-handed, off to the right, about 20 to 30 degrees. That way, when you hit the ball, the strings face towards your target and the ball goes in. I'm right-handed. I know this is going to make it look like I'm lefty, but the video just reverses. But watch how I swing toward the stairs, but the ball's not going to go toward the stairs because I have a continental grip. The ball's going to go toward the target. See how that works? You don't the ball doesn't go where you swing. The ball goes where your strings point. Let me say that again. The ball doesn't go where the racket swings. The ball goes where the strings point. And those are two different directions. Right now I'm facing you, I'm pointing at you, but I'm traveling this way. Right now I'm facing you, but I'm traveling this way. Where you face and where you travel are different. Same as the racket. Here my strings are facing up and my racket's traveling up. Here my strings are facing up and my racket's going to the side. When your strings face in one direction and your racket travels in a different direction, that's when you get spin, right? So if you want the ball to spin like the earth, which is what we want, and by the way, top spin and flat serves get all the limelight, but the star of the show is side spin. The side spin serve is the most valuable serve you can learn. Your opponents hate it. It's super consistent. You can use it for first serve and second serve. It promotes a continental grip. Learn the slice serve before you learn. The order in which you should learn them is slice, then flat, then topspin. That's the order you should learn the serves. So you don't swing towards your target. Now, when it comes to pronation, the goal is to have the swing thought, and I'll just go through this quickly, is think of spinning the ball, then turning. Spin the ball, then turn. I know you're thinking, well, what's the point of turning? Trust me, if that's your thought of spinning, then turning and pronating, don't curl around, but actually after you hit, turn the other way, you will pronate at the right time, still get the side spin that you're looking for, the slice that you're looking for, and you'll hit with speed as well. Let's see if anyone else has grabbed the analysis. Not yet. All right. On a volley at the net, should I overhead smash or hit a one-handed backhand slice? I know exactly what you're asking. It's kind of like this high ball here. Um, I would say, um, let's talk about if it's on the forehand side. On the forehand side, it's definitely a high volley. Um, like I always tell people, players have low volleys, they have medium volleys, and they have scrunched arm overheads. You've got to be able to hit high volleys on this ball. It's really depending on the situation. But if you want to hit your volley up here with like a slice or turn your back completely and then supinate as you hit the ball, it's really per ball. If you're going forward, think of the slice. If you're moving backward a little bit, think of the backhand overhead. Think of it that way. How can I get an easy point in a game if I'm leading 40 love? Well, Qwerty, I like your name, by the way. If, as I look at my keyboard, um, if it was so easy to get an easy point at 40 love, then we would get the easy point at 30 all and at deuce and that in and that out. Here's what I'll say. Um, Anytime you go to the net, it puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. And when you go forward, your opponent tends to avoid you. And when they avoid you, they often avoid the court. So if you're not someone who goes to the net, your opponents really enjoy playing you because they know they never feel any pressure from you and that they always have a ton of time to react to your shots and that you're never going to hit angles and like really great angles. I shouldn't say never, but really great angles. So you got to be careful about that. So I don't care what the score is. I'm a big fan of going to the net, of going forward. Spend less time back here and spend more time up there. All right, you got 5 minutes left, everybody. 5 minutes left. During a topspin forehand motion on the take back and drop motion, are you supposed to keep your wrist from ulnar deviating, mostly using your forearm to close the racket face a bit? Look, as the racket drops, you can think of it this way. As the racket drops, you want to think of turning your palm toward the ground. Whether you want to think of that as ulnar deviation, whatever it is, and you make that move. The goal is as the racket's dropping, feel like your palm tilts toward the ground. If that's the way you feel, then hitting topspin becomes much easier. Connect your brain to where your palm is facing. How do I have a super consistent second serve? Learn to spin the ball. Players typically do not have consistent serves because they are hitting too flat. So then they hit the ball too fast, and then or they'll put backspin on the ball. So continental grip, learn a slice serve. Forget about topspin serves if you're struggling. Actually, learn the slice serve. That's helpful to point the turning the palm to the ground. Yeah, you got it. All right, guys. If you tap the screen right now, you'll see the name of this live stream. When you tap the name of this live stream, a description pops up. And the first line of that description, you'll see get analyzed by Ryan. If you want me to analyze your serve, put you side by side with the pros, multiple pros, and make you a full length between 30 and 50-minute lesson where you send me videos of your serve, I mark it up, I teach you everything. It's the equivalent of taking 10 on-court lessons with me. I put it all into one lesson. I teach you what you're doing correctly and what you need to change, the drills that you need to practice, in the order in which you practice them. I show you right in front of you, and you get to watch it over and over again. Normally, a stroke analysis or a match analysis, I'll explain what that is in a second, it's $150 to have me do it. I made a coupon code for the last couple days that I've been promoting, and it drops it from 150 to 100. This will be the single best tennis lesson you ever take. I guarantee it. If you want me to analyze one of your matches and you have SwingVision, if you don't have SwingVision, get a free swing stick with my link in the description. SwingVision is unbelievable. I'm not going to go over it today, but it's just the most amazing app. I don't know how they did it. But you can send me video footage of you playing a match, whether it's on SwingVision or if you just record yourself and upload it to YouTube or wherever. Send me the match. I will analyze it from court positioning to shot selection to how to beat your opponents. If there's someone you struggle beating and you play them often and they just always have your number, I will teach you how to beat them in a match analysis. Either way, stroke analysis or match analysis. And the stroke analysis is one stroke because, man, I go deep into the stroke and I teach you everything. Or I do a full match analysis, footwork, core positioning, shot selection, return of serve strategy, what to do when you get a low volley versus a high volley in singles and in doubles because it's different. It's different thought process on what you do with a low volley versus what you do with a high volley, singles and doubles. What to do in all situations. I will teach you exactly what you need to do to start playing better. The coupon code video50, it's only available for the rest of the day. So if you're watching this on repeat and it's because right now it's June 30th at about 1:59 in the afternoon here, New York City time. I'm near Philadelphia. The coupon code is video50 is only good for another like 10 hours. Because at midnight tonight, I will be up until midnight and I will delete the coupon code video50. So no longer usable. I will not hold another sale until Christmas. So this is your chance to save a little bit of scratch while also getting the best tennis lesson you can get. What if you fall asleep? I will not. Are you gonna buy the lesson at 1 a.m. just to see if I'm awake, or 12:01 just to see if I'm awake, Rick? I like it. Slice serves on the ad side too. Absolutely, it's my favorite serve. The slice serve down the tee. Have you ever seen the JJ Wolf and Riley Opelka serves, where they serve from the ad side here? They serve from the ad side. Whoops, man down. They serve from the ad side and they curve the ball, and they actually keep the ball away from the guy. It's the craziest thing. It's awesome. So yeah, you can absolutely hit slice serves. You analyze Isner and Sinner's serve in the past. Would it for me be as a rectal player not easier to learn a more simple serve? Casper Ruud. Yeah, I mean, so Andreas, yeah. Look, I've done a Casper analysis too on YouTube. And I use Casper all the time. It depends on the situation, right? Like if you look at um, Casper, what Casper does is he brings the foot up with the tossing arm. So Casper does this, but um, like, because he has a low toss. So when you have a low toss, you want to connect the toss with the foot. But if you look at Isner, who's got a higher toss, not because he's taller, but it's relative to him, he has a higher toss. His timing is a little bit later. So with his foot, so who you copy depends on many factors. But oh, it's 11 p.m. in India. All right. So at 9:30 in the morning, the coupon code for you in India will expire in the description. That was some good math right there, wasn't it? Uh, I don't know much about rackets, so I don't get into that at all. All right, gang. Thank you so much. This was an absolute blast. I love coming on here live. If 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 you've gotten any kind of value from these lives, if you've gotten any type of value from the videos that I make and put on YouTube, and you truly want me to give you the most amount of value I can give you, which is to have me personally teach you, then click the link in the description. You can use video 50 for the next 10 hours and save $50. And that's significant. It's not like it's $1,000 product. It's a $150 product, and I'm dropping it from 150 to 100. And I will not be holding another sale or doing anything like this until Christmas. So this is your chance right now for the summer, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, to really improve in the next few months. Well, you got a lot of tennis ahead of you. Whether it's match analysis or a stroke analysis, you want me to help you with your backhand, your forehand. I promise you it'll be the most valuable lesson you can take. All right, Mario, even after like a week or two, my old faithful is still my winning stick. I love it. I love it. I know there was some questions about rackets. Um, Thank you all so much. And jot this down, and really maybe someone can type it and you can all take a screenshot. Mario, can you write this down? Ryan at 2minutetennis.net. Or Rick, can you do that? Ryan at 2minutetennis.net. And then when that pops up on the screen, take a screenshot, everybody. And if you want to hop on the phone, like hop on a phone call with me, I'll give you my personal cell. Um, and or anybody can write it. And email me, and I'm happy to get on the phone call with you, and I can talk to you about getting yourself analyzed or forehand, backhand, whatever it is. But the goal here is that I don't want you to just watch. Can you change grips? Oh, absolutely. There's plenty of time to change grips. I'm going to leave you with this, by the way. That I'm going to answer that question. There's plenty of time to change grips, um, and all you have to do is talk about the math of it, and you realize. Um, but the goal isn't just watch videos and hope that they pertain to like your particular situation. The goal is to actually have the information that you're learning really impact your game. Uh, let's talk about, and that's what a video analysis is going to do for you. Thomas, here's the last question I am answering. Is there enough time to change grips? Of course. So the first thing we have to do is yeah, you got it, Mario. The first thing we have to do is know the math. So here's a question for you. In rec tennis, and I've analyzed this, so I know the number. So I want you all to try to answer this. What percentage of the volleys we hit in rec tennis are coming off a ground stroke. If you look at someone hit a volley in doubles, what's the percentage chance that that volley was coming from a ground stroke? What's the likelihood that it was coming off of a ground stroke? Because think about it, it could also be coming from a volley, right? If you hit a volley, did somebody volley it to you and then you volleyed it back, or was it coming off a ground stroke? If you think about it at the net, your partner's serving, and the returner hits the ground stroke to you, and you volley it, you volleyed it off a ground stroke. So, what percentage of the time when you volley is the ball coming from a ground stroke? Mario's guess is 75%. Rick is saying 40%. We're talking rec doubles. So we got two guesses. I'll wait until there are two more guesses. What percentage of the volleys we as recreational players hit? What percentage of the volleys in doubles are are we hitting and it was a ground stroke that was coming to us? 60%? Good. I need one more guess. 70, 40, and 60% are the guesses. And this is very easy to do to check this. All you have to do is type into YouTube USTA. Christopher says 90. Price is Right rules. That's right. Closest without going over. I like it, Rick. That's what he meant by the Price is Right rules. You got to get as close as possible. If you go over, bum, 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 wow. Yeah, it is 90%. Right on. You win your showcase and your opponent's showcase. Whoever said 90, I think it was Christopher. Yes, it is 90%. 9 out of 10 volleys that we hit in doubles are coming off a ground stroke. So guess what? Do you think you have enough time to change your grip when the ball is coming to you from someone probably 60 feet away? See, the argument everyone in their mom's basement when they're yelling at me on YouTube comments, whenever I say there's plenty of time to change grips, and then we'll talk about why you want to change grips. But the reason they say there's no time is they go, "Whoa, yeah, you got it, Christopher. Good job. You win the jukebox and the car that you're never going to actually get because you got to pay all the taxes in California and it's going to be out the wazoo, and then the trip to Madrid, and you win all three in the showcase, or the exercise equipment, where you have no space for it." But the reason players say you can't do that is they always say, yeah, well, what if you're playing doubles and someone smashes a ball at you? You're right. That's like if when I was growing up, my parents said, now, Ryan, little Ryan, when you cross the street, make sure you stop and look both ways. And I go, well, yeah, but what if there's someone chasing after me with an axe and I'm running? And if I stop and I look both ways, yeah, and they'd be like, "Well, what are the chances of that happening?" And like, "Okay, I concede. If that's happening, don't look both ways. Just run, and it'll be like Frogger. If you're old enough, you know that reference, Frogger." So, of course, there are exceptions. Is there enough time to change your grip when you're at the net in doubles and someone crushes a ball at you? Yes, but there's also not enough time to even put your racket in the way of the ball or step with the appropriate foot. But we don't have a problem when we teach those things, right? So when you are dealing with a volley and the ball is coming 90% of the time off a ground stroke, there is plenty of time to change your grips. Now, I'm probably one of two or three content creators on YouTube who will tell you stop using a continental grip because it's why you stink at volleys. Now, if your volleys are amazing, like you love them, you love your backhand, you love your forehand, and you use a one grip system, good for you. You are definitely not the rule, you are the exception. But when you make slight grip changes, it helps square up the racket against the back of the ball. Now, I just saw a very prominent YouTuber, I'm not going to say who it was, and I'm going to use they pronouns, not because of any reason, except I'm going to try to hide their identity. But I just saw a content creator a few days ago talking about volley, saying you have to use a one grip system. It's super simple. You don't need to change your grips, yada yada. You know who also said that 100 years ago? Bill Tilden, when he was teaching forehands and backhands, telling you to use the one grip system because there's no time to change grips. And this way, it's so simple and you don't need to do it. Now we think of the grip change going, oh my gosh, you don't change your grips on ground strokes, you're going to stink. But back 100 years ago, you would have been, a heretic teaching a semi-Western grip forehand and then there's no time against Bill Tilden's and Bobby Riggs serves and all them. Bill Tilden and Bobby Riggs were not contemporaries, but you know what I mean. Long time ago, and there's no time to make a grip. Well, now we go, oh my gosh, we couldn't play tennis without a grip change. Maybe in 100 years, they'll say 100 years ago, back when Instagram with the dinosaurs was a thing. People were teaching one grip system. Oh, that was so funny. As everyone's flying around on their jetpacks. But maybe it's like that because in doubles, just go on YouTube and type in USTA 3-5 doubles, USTA 3-0 doubles, USTA 4-0 doubles, and then write a chart on a piece of paper for tally marks. And you got GV and VV. GV is a ground stroke volley, and VV is a volley. It means, was the volley that was hit, was it from a volley coming to them or coming from a ground stroke? And just count every volley. And if it's from a ground stroke or if it's from a volley coming to them, you will be shocked how few volley to volleys there are. And in singles, when was the last time you saw in singles at Wimbledon volley to volley in singles? You would have to go 2 or 3 matches before you saw that. There is plenty of time to change your grip. And when you approach the net, you're on the service line. When you're on the service line, you got plenty of time to change the grip when the opponent's 5 feet behind the baseline. I mean, from service line to baseline, 60 feet from your service line to their baseline. So they're 65 feet away, and you don't have time to go like that. You got to be kidding me, right? Now, why change the grip? It squares up the racket face. This is why when you watch most volleyers, they volley forward on their forehand, but then chop on their backhand. So their backhand volley stinks. It's because the racket's wide open and they're trying to drag the ball down to get the ball in. If you just make a little grip change, now the racket's much flatter. Right? You've seen coaches, it's so funny to me too, because you see coaches and they'll have their student neck to the net and they say, put your racket above the net and volley forward. Put your racket above the net and volley forward. Don't hit the net. You know what happens? The racket's always wide open and the ball pops up. So the student has to hit the ball very lightly and the ball pops up and the coach catches it. If you actually hit a volley that way with speed, the ball's going over the fence. So then the student has the open face and then they have to chop to try to drag it into drag it forward and have it actually go in. But then the ball's got a ton of backspin and the ball, goes way out. Yes, you change the grip on low volleys too. I'll answer that question. I'll tell you specifically the volley grip that I teach. Knuckle on 3, or I'll do it on this side so it looks like 3. 3, heel pad on 2.5 for the forehand. And okay, so the knuckle and heel pad are not on the same spot. Knuckle on Eastern, heel pad between continental and Eastern forehand, right? Knuckle on Eastern forehand. Backhand, I go past a continental on the higher end, like square continental. It's on the higher end of continental up on the corner. And that's especially on high volleys and medium volleys. On low volleys, I will change just to a continental. So on my backhand low volley, I use a continental because it opens the racket face nicely. But on medium balls and high balls, especially, I change the grip a little bit farther. So I personally don't teach nor use the same grip on high volleys versus low volleys. On the backhand. Forehand, I use the same grip on all. Backhands, high and medium, I'm shaded more toward the Eastern backhand, but still like not all the way on an Eastern backhand. And then on the low volley, I use a continental because that really helps the racket face to open. All right, guys, I have got to run. I've got to do some analysis lessons. I got to do a backhand. I'm sorry, I have to do a serve analysis for a gentleman. It's a first time analysis. So I'm super excited. I would do it right now as you're about to get off this live stream. I would click the link in the description. If you don't, this offer is going to end by tonight. You can go to my website, 2Minute Tennis, and check it out and check out the stroke analysis, or you can just do it right now from this link. Click the link in the description, tap the screen. You'll see the thank you, Edward. And Edward, thanks. I'm excited to do your second analysis. I didn't see what it was. But I'll check it out. It's on my Calendly, right? So I always know what everyone's going to work on. So tap the screen right now. The title just popped up. Tap the title. The description pops up. The first line, get analyzed by Ryan. Use coupon code video50 and save $50. That, and you click the link, and then it'll take you right there. It'll say, have you ever taken a video analysis with Ryan before? And if yes, it takes you right to oh, it's backhand. Awesome. I can't wait, Edward. So thank you for grabbing that. I appreciate it. Thank you, Thomas. Once you click the link, it'll say, have you ever gotten analyzed by Ryan? If yes, it takes you right to the purchase. If no, it kind of gives you a little sales idea of like, okay, what am I actually getting? It even gives you an example. I give like a 2 or 3 minute snippet of a forehand analysis I made for a junior. Quite good, very high level junior actually. So you can kind of see what they're like. So thank you all so much. No one talks about the grip change on volleys. Yeah, and the reason, I'll leave you with this, Thomas, because in order to become certified, the certifications shove it down your throat that you better not think of ever teaching anything else other than a continental grip. And this is why people can't volley. People can't volley because they're forced to use the one grip system because there's not enough time to change your grips. Well, actually, okay, if that was the right grip to use, I know I keep saying I'm going to be done, but this is too fun to talk about. If that was the right grip to use, then not enough time to change your grips wouldn't be a reason. If you come home when you're a kid and you're like, "Mom, what's for dinner? Dad, what's for dinner?" And they're like, "Oh, well, your sister's got cello and your older brother has soccer practice, so we're just going to have ham sandwiches so we can get the heck out of here." If you were to ask, "Well, what would we have had if my sister didn't have cello rehearsal and my older brother didn't have soccer practice?" If they say, "Oh, we would have had ham sandwiches," you would say, well, then why did you preface the first time pizza? Why did you preface the first time I asked it with all the reasons why we're just doing quick ham sandwiches getting out of here? You would say, why wouldn't you have just told me what we're having for dinner? Why did you? It makes it sound like if we did have more time, you would have made some extravagant meal like, oh my gosh, we're going to have chicken piccata, or oh my gosh, we're having lasagna, or all of a sudden, we're going to have steaks on the grill, Philly cheesesteaks. Don't go to Pat's and Geno's, they're terrible. Um, but what you want, go to Angelo's. But the point here is if they tell you there's not enough time to change your grips, the question then is, what if there is enough time to change grips? And if they said, oh, you're still going to use that same grip, well, then why tell me that there's not enough time? You're making it sound like if you had your druthers, there'd be a better choice. And there is a better choice to make slight grip changes to square up the racket. I'm going to leave you all with a challenge. I want you to go on Instagram today. I want you to go to a year ago on Billie Jean King's uh, um, timeline. Keep going, keep going. You're going to come to Billie Jean King volleying at Wimbledon a year ago. And in fact, the caption is first time I've hit on center court in 40 years. I want you to scroll down. I want you to find my comment on that video. And there are tons of comments under it. Billie Jean King changes her grips. And it is as clear as day. There she is volleying, changing grips at the net. Forehand, backhand, forehand. She is turning her hand. Yeah, what does she know exactly, Rick? Good point. Pressure is a privilege. I guess so is having enough time to change your grips is a privilege as well. All right, guys, I hope I get a chance to coach you in the near future. If you are watching this live stream, because it's going to post now, if you're watching this live stream on June 30th, 2025, then click the link at the top of the description, use coupon code video50, and you take $50 off an analysis, which currently right now is priced at 150, but it drops to 100. If you want me to analyze your matches, you want me to analyze your forehand or your backhand or serve, give you a full length lesson on exactly how you can gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis, then go ahead and take advantage of that coupon code right now. Thank you all, and you got this.